Hi all, Renee here. I am here today to show you my mega Christmas cards. I made 180 of this design. I send out a lot of cards, I donate a lot of cards, so I usually have a pretty big list that I need to fulfill. So I do make some specialty cards, which you'll see on my channel, and I usually, make maybe 20-25 of those specialty cards, and those go to my family. Then all the rest of my cards that I send out or donate are usually one or two specific designs, and I just make a whole bunch of them, and I do them in a what's that called? Assembly line. I couldn't remember my word. Assembly line process. So these are them for this year. So these are just a sampling. All of them are a little bit different, but they're all generally the same. They all have the same sentiment on the front, and they all have the same sentiment on the inside. So let me show you what I used to make these. So I used this paper pad from Hobby Lobby. This paper pad has 4 pages of 15 different designs. I used half this pad. I ended up using 30 sheets of paper. So what I did was I grabbed 2 of each of the designs, and then I had more than enough to go around. I still have some extra pieces because I cut a few extras. The pattern I used is from Call Me Crafty Alicia from her YouTube channel. She does monthly, she releases what's called the Sheetload of Cards. And if you go to her video, which I'll link below, one of her videos for you, and you can check it out. And then in her description box, she tells you how to get a copy of this. It's free. She doesn't charge. Oops, I'm sorry about that. Hey, Peanut, you want to give me that monkey? He does not want to give me the monkey. We'll see if he can quit squeezing it. If he makes it go again, he'll have to lose it for a little while. But anyway, totally free. You don't have to pay for this. They're usually wonderful designs. I really enjoy using them. So this is my interpretation. I flipped these 2 just a little bit because the way I wanted to do everything, I thought that just visually looked better. And this is a special edition one because people had been asking her to create one that uses 6x6 paper. Of course, she does one that has 6x6 paper. I have a bazillion pads of 6x6. Do I have any plaid 6x6? No, I do not. So I'm using 8.5 by 11. So what I did to figure out how much I could get off of an 8.5 by 11 is I just took some copy paper, cut out a bunch of pieces. This is just 3 main pieces, A, B, and C, which are the plaid pieces on my cards. I cut out several of them, and then I got my Versamat, which you see quite often in my videos. I just got my Versamat and laid out all the pieces, just moving them around until I could see that I had, here's the 8.5 mark and the 11 mark, to see how many I could get on there. Took a quick picture of it, printed it out, and then I used that for all of my work. So I told myself where my first cut was, then what cut lines I used for everything else. So feel free, if you're using 8.5 by 11 and you want to convert that to 8.5 by 11, feel free to do that. I'll leave it here on the screen so you can do a screen capture. And with that, I was able to get 6 fronts, 6 of these plaid pieces, enough plaid pieces for 6 card fronts from 1 piece of 8.5 by 11. So in total, I used 30 sheets of the plaid paper for the fronts of my 180 cards. The next thing is I added an additional mat to my sentiment because her original plan had a circle sentiment, which was great. I just didn't have a circle sentiment that I wanted to use. The sentiment I'm using is from Close to My Heart, and it's brand new this year. It's one of the minis, so they're very, very inexpensive. It's M1280 Merry Christmas trimming. Oh, and I'll show you this one. This is a retired stamp set, and this is what I used for the inside of the card. I wanted to show you that because I want to show you that you can use what you already have. Don't feel like you have to go out and buy new things. Mix and match things. These aren't exactly the same font, but I think they work okay together with one being on the inside and one being on the outside. So, feel free to use what you have. Don't feel like you have to go buy the best and the brightest. Yes, that is from someone who is a consultant, so I'm telling you not to spend money. There you go. But anyway, so this right here and this background piece, which I did with an old Doris dry embossing folder that I have, this is how it comes out when you use that embossing folder. Again, really inexpensive. I've had this forever. And then the white paper that I used for the sentiment and these pieces, which are on the background here, I'll lift it up so let me get one that I can get my hands on. You can see in the background I use that embossed paper just to give it a little extra something. So that I used, let's see, I wrote down how many sheets of paper I used. So for the embossed layer, I could get 6 out of each 12 by 12, and I used 30 sheets of white 12 by 12 for that. And then I used an additional 6 pieces of 12 by 12 white paper for the Merry Christmas. Now, if you don't have 12 by 12 paper, these are very simple to cut out. This is 2 by 2 square. And then the background is 4 by 5 1/4. So really easy, rectangle and square to cut. Then this gold right here is just some gold glitter paper that I had in my stash, and I cut it at 2 1/4 square. So it's just 1/4 inch bigger than the inside piece. And for that, I think, and I forgot to write it down, but I think I ended up using, because it was 12 by 12 glitter paper, and I feel like I ended up using like 7 sheets, maybe 7.5, because I didn't use a full sheet on the last piece. So about 7.5 sheets of glitter paper. And let's see what else. Oh, the black. The black is just some black that I had in my stash. It was cheapo 8.5 by 11 paper from Hobby Lobby that I bought years ago on some sale probably, which is good because I ended up using 60 sheets of that. Because it was only 8.5 by 11. So there's all the paper that I used, how much I used of each thing. Let's see, what else do I have to show you? I think that is it. Oh, and I put it all together just with my ATG gun. Give you a closer up look of this. I really think they turned out really, really cute, and they were actually pretty easy. You would think they would be kind of hard to line up, but what I did was I did the bottom piece first, then I did the left, and then I did the right. Well, then you're putting your sentiment over the edge here. So I would say when you're doing this, just make sure your top edge lines up and your 2 side edges line up. Don't worry too much about what's going on under here because you're not going to see it. It's going to be covered by your sentiment. So again, there's the inside. Oh, and I used my Misty for all of my stamping, which made it really easy because I just set it once and just kept moving my papers in and out. Watched some YouTube videos. We watched a couple of movies on Netflix while I was sitting doing this. And as far as how long it took me, I have no earthly idea how long it took me to put these together because I would just work on them, an hour here, a couple hours there, so I wouldn't get burned out on them. If you're making just one card, probably 10 minutes a card, maybe. I think it probably a good half to a third of my time was spent cutting everything and then doing the embossing. The embossing took a while because you can only do one at a time. So if you decided you didn't want to do this embossing, you don't have to. I just wanted to do a little something extra because I felt like the cards were pretty simple for what I usually send out. So I wanted to give them just a little something extra. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have, this is still current, you can still get that. So if you have any questions though, feel free to leave those for me down below, any comments. If you're not already a subscriber, I would love to have you subscribe. I am just over 600 subscribers. My goal is 1,000. It feels very lofty, so I'm sure it'll take a while, but that's my goal. So if you want to help me reach my goal and just click that subscribe button, I would love it. It doesn't cost anything. And there you go. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'll put that out of the way so you can see the cards. I hope you have a wonderful day and take care of yourselves. Bye.